Let's talk a little bit about disclosure on Wikipedia. And when I talk about disclosure, I'm talking about disclosing whether or not you are being paid or you have a conflict of interest. And this question comes up all the time from clients. I get questions every week in an email about should we disclose? Do you disclose? When do we disclose? So a lot has changed over the last, I would say, 5-6 years with Wikipedia, so I thought I would address it again here in 2023. Now, I used to be an advocate for not disclosing on Wikipedia, and I'm going to tell you why here in a second. Now that the pendulum has kind of swung back as far as guidelines and the toxicity level of editors in Wikipedia, I do recommend disclosing, and there's a few reasons why, which I'm going to get into in just a second. So a little bit of background. Wikipedia used to have absolutely no guideline against paid editing. If you were being paid by a company or a client, whatever it was, you were being paid to edit a Wikipedia article, there was no disclosure that was required. You could go in, you could edit the page. Now, they had a guideline for conflict of interest, and taking money to get editing could be considered a conflict of interest, but those guidelines said that we advise that you don't edit, but it doesn't say you can't edit. It doesn't say you have to disclose to edit. Well, Wikipedia editors hate paid editing. I've discussed this at length, and there were a lot of editors during that time who would use any reason whatsoever to get rid of any edits that were paid for, anyone who had a conflict of interest, try to block or ban everyone that they could. And back during that time, I advised clients, do not disclose. And this is why. Wikipedia editors used to say, if you have a conflict of interest, let us know. We don't have a problem with it. Let us know who you are. We know that you have a conflict. We'll work with you so that you understand the guidelines and can assist you with your edits. The problem with that, it's like telling someone to come put their head inside of a guillotine so that you can give them a quick haircut. It just doesn't work out that way. Once you disclosed, they would go in, start deleting your work, block and ban you, do whatever they could to just get rid of it. Now, the Wikimedia Foundation has come up with guidelines now where if you are receiving compensation, whether you're an employee of a company who you're editing on their behalf, whether or not you're receiving compensation, such as you're exchanging something other than money, such as, hey, I'm going to agree to do this work for you, you do this work for me, a lot of content exchanges possibly. Any of that, if you're a freelancer, you have to disclose that you're being compensated for that article or for those edits. Now, in the beginning, I still advised not to disclose for those same reasons of Wikipedia editors now had a bigger sword and they would just come along and against the guillotine scenario where they just didn't allow paid editing, or they allowed it, but as soon as you did it, they would come in and just destroy it, high scrutiny. Well, over the last few years, and I would say probably in the last 2 to 3 years, Wikipedia has gotten a lot better. It's not necessarily Wikipedia as a whole or the Wikimedia Foundation as a whole. What it is you get a few toxic editors in there who make it their point to take their personal point of views about editing, paid editing, and try to deal with it. Those editors have actually been blocked or banned because of their toxicity. I can even show you, I've written some blog posts on my website mentioning some of their toxic traits and things that they've done. Those editors are gone. Also, the culture on Wikipedia understands that it doesn't matter what they do. They can have guidelines, policies, procedures. There is a lot of paid editing. If you don't believe me, go to Google and do a search. Go to Upwork, all these freelance sites. Everybody is trying to do it now. Now, on a side note, not all of them do it with proficiency, and I'm going to get into that here in a second. So now with disclosure, if you're found not to disclose, that could be one of the only reason that keeps you from getting in the gate. Gatekeepers are going to be looking at whether or not you are paid, whether or not you have a conflict of interest, and whether or not you're disclosing. And I'm recommending this through the articles for creation process. I've done some videos on it that you've seen. I also have some articles on the articles for creation process. And basically what that is a peer review. You create a draft, you submit it to Wikipedia and say, here's a draft that I'd like to be a Wikipedia article. They will review it, and then they'll opine. They'll either approve the draft and send it to MainSpace as a full Wikipedia article, or they're going to decline it and give you some reasons why and things that you need to correct before you resubmit it for review. Now, disclosure is highly advised on these because people are going to know whether or not you're paid anyway. Editors on Wikipedia are experienced. They've been there for a while, and it doesn't take long before you can see somebody submit a draft and know whether or not they likely have a conflict of interest, just based on the editing style, based on their experience, whether they're a new editor submitting an article, what the topic is about. I mean, no one's just going to come along to Wikipedia and decide that they're going to create a Wikipedia article about a company. It just doesn't happen. It's very, very rare. So they know that everyone has a conflict of interest pretty much behind that. So disclosing it just kind of dispels any worries. And if that's the reason they want to keep you out, they can't, because you have made the appropriate disclosures according to the terms. Here is the other reason, and this one is very, very, very important. Now, if you're hiring somebody to create a Wikipedia page for you, and I just said there's a lot of agencies, there's a lot of freelancers that have no clue what they're doing. They see it's a lucrative business. They charge you lots of money. They go and they write an article and they put it right into the main space of Wikipedia. They take your money, they walk away. A few weeks later, someone sees your article in Wikipedia. It turns out it's not written so well. They delete it. They ban it, they block the user, and now you're stuck there. No Wikipedia page. That freelancer is nowhere to be found. And they're off in Hawaii or on some all-inclusive vacation with your money. Out of luck. It's kind of like paying for backlinks to some black hat SEO company, which a lot of them have popped up doing this. Now, if you've hired a freelancer to do this, require them to go through articles for creation. It does a number of things. Number one, they will properly disclose, make sure that they do properly disclose. And during the articles for creation process, you will know whether or not they did a good enough job for your article to pass into the main space, because they're not just posting it into the main space. If they submit it through the articles for creation process and it's declined, don't pay them the money. Make it contingent upon approval if you want. Because a lot of these lower freelancers that just take these jobs, they don't know what they're doing. They have no experience. Maybe the first or second time they've ever done that. It would be like me opening my kitchen and telling you to come in so you can pay, 5-star prices when all I'm going to cook you is some microwave macaroni and cheese. That's basically what you're getting there. So require them to go through the review process. If it gets approved, congratulations. You hired a freelancer, someone off one of these sites that actually did a good job for you. But I'm going to tell you the majority of the times it's not going to happen. They're going to get declined. It's going to come back and you're going to find out what exactly they need to fix to do it. Now, I know this from experience. I get a lot of clients every week that email me and say, I need help with Wikipedia. My article was deleted. I paid somebody off Upwork $1,500 and now their article is deleted, they're out of the money, and they're going to have to pay me twice that to advise them what they need to do to get it back online, because it's going to be even more difficult now that, number one, that person never disclosed in the first place, and the page has already been deleted once. So in the end, is there a requirement to disclose? There is one through the Wikimedia Foundation. Should you or should you not? I recommend you do. Again, I'm not your attorney. I'm not your father. I don't work for you. You don't work for me. What you do is up to you. I'm just telling you what the requirements are, and hopefully you'll adhere to them.